$4,037 a month is a very specific dollar amount that most people in the USA generally need in order to retire comfortably, excluding, of course, Social Security and pensions. And this is net, right after taxes. So this is not a range, it's not a ballpark, it's an exact number. And I'm going to show you how to arrive there using JEPQ. But I also have to show you something that most finance channels are not going to tell you, because it might make you a little uncomfortable. So stick with me. Today we're going to be talking about JEPQ. If you don't know what JEPQ is, it's JP Morgan's NASDAQ Equity Premium Income ETF. It holds the biggest NASDAQ stocks. Think Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. And on top of that, it sells covered calls to generate monthly distributions. Now, as of this recording, it's been yielding around 12% plus, but what I'm going to do for this exercise is actually take the historical 11% annual. That means that for every $100,000 you have invested, you would be collecting roughly $917 a month in distributions before taxes. Now, before I go any further, a couple of things. First, nothing in this video is meant as financial advice. This is purely educational content only. So always consult a licensed financial advisor and also a qualified tax accountant before you make any investment decisions. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that I'm going to be offering you a free tool that you can access and be able to customize your specific monthly number according to your age, according to how much you want to earn net in order to be able to retire. So stick around. So here's the question I get more than any other. People DM me, they comment, they email me, and they all ask me the same thing. How much do I actually need to retire? And I've always given them the formula, but formulas are pretty boring. Let's be honest with each other. What people actually need is their number, their specific personal after-tax real-world number. So I built something, a free tool, and I'm going to show you how it works in just a minute, because once you see your number, everything is going to change. But first, I need you to make sure you understand why that number is what it is. Because if you don't understand the math behind it, you'll never trust it enough to actually act on it.
What's your number? Your number. The amount of money you would need to just walk away from it and live. See, I find that everybody has a number, and it's usually an exact number. So what is yours?
Let's say that number is $4,037 per month in passive income after taxes. And I do want to emphasize after taxes. Now, why 4,037? Because that's roughly what the average American needs to cover basic living expenses outside of Social Security and pension that you might get. Your number, of course, might be different. It might be higher, might be lower, and that's fine because the math works the same way. Now, JEPQ is yielding more than 11%, but I'm going to take 11% to be a little bit conservative. But here's where people make their first mistake. They forget about taxes. So if you're in the 22% federal tax bracket, which covers a pretty significant chunk of the middle class income earners, you don't keep all of that 11%. After taxes, your effective yield drops to about 8.58%. That's your real yield. That's the number that matters. So to figure out how much capital you need, we need to do simple math. Take your target monthly income, which is $4,037, multiply by 12, and that's your annual income goal, $48,444. Then divide that by your net yield of 8.58, and you get $564,615. That is the number. That is what you need invested in JEPQ at current yields at a 22% tax rate to generate $4,037 a month net every single month without touching your principal. Now, I want you to notice something. I did not say that's your number, because your tax rate might be different, your income target might be different, the yield might shift, and that's exactly why I built this tool I'm going to give you, but we're going to get there. Here's what I need you to understand first, and this is the part that changes how you think about all of this. So now that we have a number, 565,000, give or take, depending on your situation, most people are going to hear that and they're going to feel one of two things. Either A, they're going to feel relieved because it's actually more reachable than they thought, or B, they're going to feel behind, like they've lost too much time already. And here's what I want to talk to you about, because time is not just a factor in this equation, time is the equation. And I want to show you something that honestly stopped me cold when I first ran these numbers. See, the question isn't how much you need. The question is, how much do you need to set aside every single month to get there? And the answer to that question changes so dramatically depending on when you start that two people with the exact same goal end up living completely different financial realities. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so I want to show you this tool I built. By the way, it's completely free. There's no email, no sign up, no nothing. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'm also going to put a QR code here. And let me walk you through it. Up top, you've got your three core assumptions. The JEPQ yield, which I've defaulted to 11%, your federal tax rate defaulted to 22%, and your monthly income target defaulted to $4,037. And by the way, you can change all of these to match your actual situation. The tool immediately tells you your net yield after taxes, the capital you need, and your monthly net income. Simple. Now scroll down. Here's where it gets interesting. There's a slider. Watch what happens when I drag this. As I increase my invested capital, my monthly income goes up in real time. So if you've got $750,000 to invest, you're looking at over $5,300 a month after taxes. $1 million, over $7,000 a month. You can play with this all day. But this section, this is the one I really want you to pay attention to, the accumulation plan. You set your target balance, let's keep it at $564K. Your starting balance, let's say, is 0, starting from scratch, and your assumed growth rate during the saving phase. I've got it at 8%, which accounts for price appreciation plus reinvested distributions over time. Now here's where you set your starting age, scenario A and scenario B, and your retirement age. Let me show you something. I started at age 39, I retired at 65. That's 26 years. The tool tells me I need to set aside $568 a month. That's it. Less than a car payment for most people. Now watch what happens when I change scenario A to age 50. Same goal, same retirement age, but 15 years instead of 26. Now I need $1,672 per month. It more than tripled. And look at what happens when it's age 55. Now we're at $3,135. That's a mortgage payment for most people. Same exact goal. And that right there, that graph you see on screen, that is the cost of waiting visualized. Every year you delay, that monthly contribution number goes up. This is not me trying to scare you. This is math. And the earlier you see it, the better position you're going to be to do something about it. Which brings me to the thing almost nobody talks about when it comes to building this kind of wealth. And here's the variable that sits underneath all of it and quietly determines whether you make it or fall short. And most people completely ignore it. It's actually your growth rate assumption during accumulation. Go back into the tool. Let's change the growth rate from 8 to 6%. Now watch what happens to your required monthly contribution. It goes up significantly because your money is growing slower. Now change it to 10%. Your contribution drops because compounding is doing more of the work. And here's why that matters. The funds you choose to invest in during your accumulation phase, before you reach your target balance, are what's going to determine your real-world growth rate. And not all income ETFs are created equal. Some are growing your NAV over time. Some are slowly eroding it while paying you distributions. And the difference between those two scenarios over 15, 20 years is not a rounding error. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So JEPQ at 11%, 22% federal tax rate, you need $564,000 invested to generate $4,037 a month net. Now that is a number for that specific scenario. Your number most likely will be different, which is exactly why this tool exists and now you have it in your hands. You can change every single variable: yield, tax rate, income, target, starting age, retirement age, growth rate assumption, and it's going to recalculate it for you. To give you an example of an income ETF that is super high yield but perhaps a little bit hyped up, I'm going to put a link right here for you to watch it. Enjoy. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a prosperous rest of your week.